Hey there, this is the Resistor Vic podcast. I'm here to get folks thinking about politics as something that's really about regular people like you and me, and to realize that together we can make a difference. I'm Vic Myers. Welcome to The Resistance. So this is take 3 because, well, I left my notes at work. I've been waiting all week to talk about this. And this is, now what? After Tuesday's election results, now what? It was such a sweeping victory for the Democrats. In conventional times, the Republicans would change course. They would say, uh-oh, we're in deep trouble. And the Democrats, they would say, we found something that worked and we're going to stick with it. Is that what's going to happen? Will the Republicans of 2025 see that they are in serious trouble come November of 2026? Or will they simply say, no, we're sticking with Trump. We're going to double down. We're going to continue to take away people's rights. We're going to continue to ignore the unconstitutional behavior of this administration, in particular when it comes to these Istapo raids. Will they step up and start becoming a co-equal branch of government again? And how about the Democrats? Will the Democrats look at those results and say, we found something that works? We found a formula where if we simply talk about and promise to champion the working class again, if we go after the cost of health care, if we go after the affordable housing and a living wage and things like that, then the Democrats can get control and power again and do some good. Will they do that? Well, indications are maybe not. I'll get to that in a minute. A lot of people think that the Republicans are just going to double down. And so far, we haven't seen any indication of the Republicans recognizing how badly they got beat the other day. They feel no fear whatsoever. They think that they can just keep doing what they're doing, and the people are going to just keep voting red in red districts and blue in blue districts, even though that's not what happened the other day, because the victories were across the board. They were in blue states, they were in red states, they were in purple states. There were places where Democrats haven't won in 2 or 3 generations, and they knocked out MAGA Republicans from their seats. So you would think that some of them, besides Marjorie Taylor Greene, would have the common sense to know that they're doing something wrong. But they haven't said or done anything this week to indicate that that's the case. And as far as Marjorie Taylor Greene goes, she's got nothing coming. I mean, she has supported this MAGA garbage from day one. She was one of the biggest loudmouths in the House, in all of Washington, one of the biggest loudmouths. And then when she wanted to run for the Senate, and all the other Republicans were like, no, we don't think so. Now she's got an axe to grind. That's the only reason why she's coming out in favor of doing something about health care costs and having the temerity to speak against the Trump administration and the Republican Party in Washington. I don't think she's got anything coming for that. You can't wash away your sins that easily, Marjorie. And the Democrats, they still refuse to acknowledge Mamdani. They're acting like the only Democrats who won were in New Jersey and Virginia. They don't get it. And tonight we're hearing news that the Senate Democrats are looking at capitulating to the Republicans for some promise of a discussion to possibly have a vote on health care in December, in exchange for restoring funding and paying all the people who have been left on furlough, all the federal employees who aren't getting paid. The Republicans are promising to pay them. And Tim Kaine, another dinosaur Democrat who needs to find a political meteor, is saying that he'll vote for this if it means restoring the paychecks to these people. Well, guess what, Tim Kaine? A while back, you actually co-authored legislation that put it into law that at the end of a shutdown, the federal employees have to get their full pay. It's in the law. It's in the law with your name on it. But you're going to capitulate so that you can put your name on a headline that says you helped end the shutdown. Meanwhile, the promise of a discussion about having a vote on the ACA subsidies. What does that mean? You're going to give up your leverage. You're going to sell out Democrats and working people and working Republicans, working class Republicans, and working class independents. You're going to sell out the working class of America for the promise of a discussion. I guess I have my answer. The Democrats didn't learn anything from last Tuesday. They're going to buckle under and do everything that they can to maintain their oligarchical status control of the Democratic Party. It kind of makes a guy sick, if I'm being honest. I think I have. I mean, this is the shutdown's got to end sometime, right? And I think I have one way that would serve the working class people of America. I mean, it's not going to get us anything right now. But if we're going to give up and let the Republicans win, we need to get something. How about we do this? How about the Republicans, and this is a freebie on the off chance that some Republicans somewhere would hear this. This is what you tell your Republican leader in the states, in the U.S. Senate. Tell him, look, John, check it out. Promise the Democrats that they can have an up or down vote on Medicare for all. You see, there's legislation pending in the House and in the Senate. It's been introduced for Medicare for all. That would solve the healthcare problem in America. But the problem is we've got so many Democrats who run for office saying that they support Medicare for all. And then after they get elected, or even after they win their primary, they're like, Medicare for all, what's that? Never heard of it. Hakeem Jeffries, just a couple of days ago, I saw a video where somebody asked him in his little press gathering where he thought he was going to make himself look good, I guess. He was asked about Medicare for all and whether or not that's something that, given the election results, is that something the Democrats need to be championing? Is that a way out of this problem with our healthcare costs? And Hakeem Jeffries said that he strongly supports Medicare for all. And he was asked, well, why aren't you pushing the bill? He said that it hasn't been introduced. That if it was introduced, he would be supporting it. But it is. It's in the House. It's in the Senate. There's legislation submitted. So instead of fighting for it, he's pretending like it never got introduced. If anybody in New York is hearing this, please get a hold of the people who ran the Mom Donnie campaign. Find some energetic, young, ambitious person who's involved at the top levels of that campaign who would make a good candidate and run them against Hakeem Jeffries. That guy is the biggest loser in Washington. The least inspiring person I've ever seen stand behind a microphone. Anyway, got off on my Hakeem Jeffries tangent. Republicans, you need to offer the Democrats to have an up or down vote on the pending Medicare for All legislation. Now that is something that they would be crazy to turn that deal down. We'll open the government. Don't have to worry about the federal employees getting paid because that's already in the law. By the way, there was a lawsuit after the last shutdown that said it was illegal to work federal employees without paying them. And they won the lawsuit, and yet here we are, federal employees not getting paid. Anyway, if the Republicans would promise, put it in writing, get out in front of the cameras, the whole 9 yards, say we're going to open up the government with a continuing resolution, and in exchange, we're going to have an up or down vote on Medicare for all. Democrats would have to go along with it. They would be, there's no way they could say no. And the Republicans would get a win. And the Democrats who are going to cave anyway, they would get a lose. But we, the people, especially those of us in the Democratic Party, we would get a win. Because when that up or down vote came, we would finally see which one of the Democrats in Washington truly do support Medicare for all. It should be a completely bipartisan vote, all Democrats for it and all Republicans against it. But that's not what will happen. You'll see a handful of progressive Democrats in the House and in the Senate vote to support it. My senators won't support it. Hickenlooper, Bennett, there's no way in hell they're going to vote for Medicare for all because they are big business oligarchical senators. Who else? Let's see. Tim Kaine, the guy who's caving to the Republicans tonight, he's not going to support Medicare for all. Shaheen, she's not going to support it. Slotkin won't support it. There's a whole bunch of Democrats who say they want to do something about health care, but they'll cave in. They'll vote no if given the opportunity to give us Medicare for all. If we want Medicare for all, I only see one clear path for it to ever happen. If we ever want to be able to go to the doctor without risking the loss of our homes to medical debt, if we ever want to get to a situation where we can choose to keep our homes, keep our life, and get the treatment by getting the treatment that we need. If we ever want to get to that point, we're only going to get there if we join the rest of the industrialized world, like, say, Israel, who we give tens, hundreds of billions of dollars to every year. We give them money. They have national health care. Little country down south of here called Argentina that Trump is giving our farmers business to, who's taking our cattle sales. They're going to ruin our cattle ranchers. That country has national health care. All those people down there, they can just go to a doctor if they get sick. They fall and break an ankle, they can just go to the doctor, and they're not going to lose their homes and their livelihood because of it. But in America, we would rather keep giving thousands of dollars a month to insurance companies, because the guys who run in the insurance companies, they don't have enough yachts yet. They don't have enough vacation homes around the world. Those poor bastards, how do they get by knowing that they can't visit every single country and stay in their own villa? How do we expect them to live like that? That's why we can't have Medicare for all in America. But if we were to have a vote on it, we could see which Democrats precisely are full of shit. We could see which ones said that they supported it in their campaign, but will vote against it. And then we will know which ones, excuse me, we will know which ones to focus our energy on next year. And I don't know, when's Tim Kaine up for re-election? Let me ask my phone. When is Tim Kaine up for re-election? Dun, 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 dun. He's up for re-election in 2028. So that gives us 3 years. 3 years, well, 2 years really, to find a replacement for Tim Kaine. It's got to come to this. We have to stand up because the Democrats in Washington are going to cave in and let us down. Now, even if, and I checked just before I came in here to record this, we didn't know yet. Maybe by the time tomorrow morning comes around and this gets on the air, we'll know whether or not the Senate voted to open the House, or open the government. But here's the thing. They still have to get the House to go along with their New Deal. Mike Johnson can't do it because if he does, then he's got to bring the House back into session. If he brings the House back into session, he's got to swear in Adelita Grijalva. And if he does that, then the Epstein files are going to come out. So he's gonna say, nope, sorry, we're staying out until January 3rd, which for those of you who don't know, the Constitution requires the House to come into session on January 3rd. That's the longest that Mike Johnson can keep them out. So Mike Johnson's going to take every day that he can to try and convince some of the Republicans who were on that discharge petition. He's going to take every day. He's not going to open up the government until either January 3rd or he has converted enough House Republicans to vote against that discharge position. And speaking of House Republicans, there's an election less than a month from now in Tennessee, Tennessee 7. Afton Bain is the true progressive Democrat. She swept the primary. There were, I forget how many. There was a handful of Democrats running against her, and she won the primary. And the seats being opened up by this guy who stuck around long enough to vote for the big, beautiful bill, what I call the Trump tax. And then he quit, took his girlfriend, I think, allegedly, and moved to Guyana, of all places. And now that seat's open, and the special election is December 2nd. Now, before tonight, as I'm recording this, I would have said that there's a fantastic chance for Afton to win that election because the momentum from last Tuesday is going to carry her through because the rejection of the Republicans. But if the Democrats cave tonight, if the Democrats cave on the shutdown and get nothing out of it, then that's gonna pop that balloon, if you will. It's the excitement, I'm afraid, is just gonna go out of the room. And it's gonna make it much tougher for her to win that election. I certainly hope I'm wrong. You can go to Afton for Congress, AFTYNFORCONGRESS.com. Look, it's scrolling across the bottom of my screen for those who are reading it. You can go to AftonForCongress.com and help her out. You can give her a couple of bucks. You can sign up to text, to make phone calls. If you're in the neighborhood, you can sign up to walk doors, help her canvass. It's a winnable election. Yes, it's a R plus like 20. But if you take away the fact that, or if you count the fact, rather, that the guy she's running against was endorsed by Donald Trump. He won the primary because he was endorsed by Donald Trump. the least popular person in Washington. By the way, if you didn't see it, there's a great video out there of him trying to read a speech at the Washington Commanders football game today, and you couldn't hear a thing he was saying because the crowd was booing so loudly. It was fabulous. I watched that video like 4 or 5 times just so I could keep hearing it. Anyway, I digress. Go and help Afton. And if you have a Democratic U.S. Senator, give him a call. Say, don't you dare vote to reopen the government based on a promise of a discussion to possibly have a vote on reinstating the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. Let them know that that's not acceptable. And if you're in Virginia, call up that idiot senator you have who said that he would do this for the promise of making sure the federal employees get paid, even though he helped write the law, at least his name's on it, that guarantees they will get paid when the government reopens. Give him a call and tell him how stupid he is. And, maybe if you're in Virginia, maybe y'all need to go and start picketing his offices. Tell him it's way past time for him to retire. And I think I'll leave my little rant at that. Now what? We're about to find out, folks. Thanks for making me a part of your day. Good day. Well, folks, looks like we're back at the barn and it's time to call it a day. I sure do appreciate you spending your time with me. If you want to help keep this podcast going by supporting me, you can get a paid subscription on Substack, where I'm Resistor Vic. Or if you're the type that'd rather go to PayPal, I'm also resistorvic@gmail.com. Thanks again.